Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like something just didn't add up? Maybe it was the way they avoided eye contact, or how their story had just a little too much detail. But you shook it off thinking, no, I'm probably overthinking it. Here's the truth. You weren't. People lie more often than we realize, and the scariest part, most of the time we miss it, but not anymore. In this video, we're diving into the fascinating world of body language and uncovering the subtle, almost invisible cues that liars unknowingly reveal. And no, this isn't about cheesy TV crime show tricks. It's grounded in real science and psychology. Now, you might be thinking, why does this even matter? Because spotting dishonesty isn't just about catching someone in a lie. It's about protecting your time, your trust, and your peace of mind. It's about understanding human behavior on a deeper level. By the end of this video, you'll have practical tools to decode body language and spot deception in seconds. But fair warning, what you're about to learn might change the way you see the world and the people around you. So, if you've ever felt manipulated, doubted your instincts, or just want to sharpen your social radar, stay tuned. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's jump into the secrets they don't want you to know. Ready? Let's go. Number 1. The blink truth test. You know that feeling when you're not entirely sure if someone is being honest with you. Maybe it's a coworker explaining why they missed a deadline, or a friend who swears they've just been busy after weeks of radio silence. Deep down, something doesn't quite add up, but you can't put your finger on it. Here's the thing. We all have a built-in radar for spotting lies, but most of us don't know how to read the signals. That's where the blink truth test comes in. And trust me, once you see it in action, you'll never look at a conversation the same way again. Now, I know what you're thinking. Blinking. Seriously. Yes, blinking. It might sound bizarre at first, but stay with me here. Blinking is like the body's little truth detector. It's connected to stress, focus, and our overall mental state. When someone is lying, they often go into overdrive trying to control their words and facial expressions. But their blinks, those tiny unconscious movements, can give the game away. Think about it. When was the last time you worried about how often you blink during a conversation? Exactly. Picture this. A few weeks ago, I was sitting across from a colleague who had accidentally deleted a shared file. As they explained how it happened, I noticed something odd. Their eyes. They weren't blinking at all. It was like their eyelids had forgotten they existed. And then, as soon as they finished their explanation, the blinks came in rapid fire, like their body was catching up on all the stress it had just gone through. That's when it clicked. They're lying. So, I calmly asked a follow-up question, just enough to throw them off their script, and boom, the story unraveled. Here's the science behind it. When people lie, they're under pressure to craft a convincing story. Their brain is working overtime, and this hyper-focus often reduces their blink rate. But as soon as they think they've sold the lie, the tension releases, and their blinks go into overcompensation mode. It's fascinating, isn't it? Of course, it's not foolproof. Sometimes people are just nervous or tired, but it's a subtle clue that can help you dig deeper when something feels off. The beauty of the blink truth test is that it's not confrontational. You're not accusing anyone outright or playing detective with a magnifying glass. It's about quietly observing, staying curious, and trusting your instincts. It's like having a superpower that lets you see beyond words to what's really going on beneath the surface. And the best part? Once you start using it, you'll notice all kinds of patterns in people's behavior that you never picked up on before. This isn't about catching people out for fun or becoming paranoid. It's about reclaiming your peace of mind and staying grounded in situations where honesty matters. Because let's face it, life's too short to waste on half-truths and hidden agendas. So, next time you're in a conversation that feels a little off, try the blink test. Watch, wait, and see what unfolds. You might be surprised at just how much someone's eyes can reveal. Number 2, the stutter and stall effect. Here's the thing, lies aren't as smooth as they seem. In fact, they're often clumsy, awkward, and riddled with hesitation. That's where the stutter and stall effect comes in, a simple yet powerful way to spot dishonesty by paying attention to the moments when someone's words trip over themselves. You might be thinking, wait, stuttering? Isn't that just nerves? Sure, sometimes it is. But when paired with odd pauses or an overuse of filler words, it's often the hallmark of someone scrambling to build a believable lie on the spot. And trust me, once you know how to spot it, it's like watching someone try to assemble IKEA furniture without instructions. Messy, frustrating, and incredibly revealing. We've all been there, right? Maybe you've asked your partner why they were late, or you've quizzed a co-worker about why their part of the project isn't done. The response? Well, you see, it's just that they're stalling, fumbling for words, and hoping you won't notice how disjointed their explanation is. Sound familiar? It's that uneasy dance between their brain and their mouth as they try to string together a story that makes sense. And let's be real, we've all been on both sides of this equation, because who hasn't told a little white lie and panicked mid-sentence when pressed for details? So what's actually happening here? When someone lies, their brain is working overtime to juggle facts, emotions, and a fabricated narrative, all while trying to appear calm and composed. This cognitive overload often shows up in their speech patterns. They stutter, repeat themselves, or stall with phrases like, well, you know, the thing is. It's not just about the words they're saying, it's about the gaps and hesitations in between. Those pauses, they're mini moments of panic as they scramble to keep their story straight. Let me tell you about the time I saw this play out perfectly. I was at a dinner party and a friend, let's call him Dan, was telling us about why he couldn't join a group trip we'd planned. Yeah, I wanted to come, but work's been so crazy, you know, and my boss, well, she's just been like really on my case. The stuttering, the unnecessary details, the long pauses, it was all there. So I casually asked, "Oh, what's the project that's keeping you so busy?" Dan froze, blinked a few times, and then stammered something about a deadline that didn't quite make sense. Turns out, Dan had skipped out because he didn't want to spend the weekend hiking, but instead of just saying that, he concocted a story he couldn't keep up with. The beauty of the stutter and stall effect is that it doesn't require you to confront anyone or accuse them outright. It's about listening, not just to what's being said, but to how it's being said. This isn't about catching someone in a lie to humiliate them. It's about understanding the dynamics of truth and deception. And honestly, it's a game changer in navigating tricky conversations, whether you're dealing with co-workers, friends, or even family. When you tune into these subtle speech patterns, you gain a quiet confidence. You don't have to second-guess yourself or let others manipulate you with half-truths. This is about reclaiming your clarity and standing firm in situations where honesty matters. So next time you hear someone stammering their way through an explanation, pause. Let the stutter and stall reveal what they're struggling to hide. You don't need to call them out. Sometimes simply knowing the truth is power enough. And that power, that's your peace, your clarity, and your strength. Number 3, the feet whisper lies. Here's a secret. When it comes to spotting lies, the truth isn't always in what someone says. It's not even in their face. The real story? It's all in their feet. Yes, you heard me right. Those often overlooked appendages are like truth-telling compasses, pointing to what someone really feels. Now, you might be thinking, feet? Seriously? But hear me out. While people consciously control their words and gestures, their feet tend to act on autopilot, revealing anxiety, discomfort, or even the desire to escape a situation. Once you start paying attention, you'll wonder how you ever missed it. We've all been there, stuck in a tense conversation where the vibe feels off. Maybe it's a coworker dodging responsibility or a friend giving you an overly rehearsed excuse. You're listening, but something about their energy feels disconnected. Sound familiar? Here's where the feet come in. Unlike a poker face or a well-practiced tone, feet don't lie. They shuffle, they point away, they tap nervously, all subtle signs of inner turmoil. And the best part? Most people have no idea they're broadcasting their discomfort down below. So, why do feet betray us? It's simple. Our bodies are wired for survival, and when we're stressed, like when telling a lie, our subconscious prepares us to flee. Even if the person doesn't physically leave, their feet often try to, pointing toward an exit or shifting restlessly as if ready to bolt. It's a primal response that dates back to when lying might have literally been a matter of life and death. Think of it as the body's fight-or-flight mechanism whispering the truth, even when the mouth won't. Let me share a moment where this strategy saved me from falling for a pretty big lie. I was meeting with a contractor to discuss a home renovation project. Everything about his pitch sounded great. Confident tone, steady eye contact, and just the right amount of charm. But then I glanced down. His feet were another story entirely. One foot was tapping like it was auditioning for a tap dance show, while the other pointed toward the door. I decided to dig deeper, asking a few more pointed questions about his experience and timelines. Sure enough, his answers started to falter. Turns out, he'd oversold his expertise, and I dodged a major headache thanks to his jittery feet. Now, I know this might sound like overanalyzing. Are you saying I should stare at people's feet all the time? Of course not. But next time you're in a situation where trust matters, an interview, a negotiation, or even just a heart-to-heart with someone, take a quick glance. If their feet are pointing toward an exit, bouncing nervously, or shifting weight excessively, it's worth paying attention. They might not be lying, but they're definitely not as comfortable as they're pretending to be. This isn't about becoming a human lie detector or confronting people at every turn. It's about understanding the unspoken signals in human behavior. Watching someone's feet can give you an edge, a quiet insight that keeps you grounded when emotions or words get murky. It's not just about spotting lies. It's about staying connected to your instincts and knowing when to trust or question what's being said. So, the next time you're in a conversation that feels off, let the feet do the talking. Watch where they point, how they move, and what they reveal. It's subtle, it's powerful, and it's always honest. And remember, your peace of mind is worth every quiet observation you make. Trust the feet. They never whisper lies. Number 4. The micro-expression. Giveaway. You want to know the truth about people? Don't listen to their words, watch their face. Not the obvious parts, though. The real story is told in flashes so quick you'd miss them if you blink. These are micro-expressions, those tiny, involuntary flickers of emotion that betray what someone's really feeling. Now you might be thinking, how am I supposed to notice something that happens in the blink of an eye? Trust me, it's not as hard as it sounds. Once you know what to look for, these fleeting moments can be like neon signs pointing to the truth. We've all been in situations where something just felt off. Maybe a friend said they were fine, but their smile seemed forced, or a coworker assured you everything was under control, yet you caught a glimpse of panic in their eyes. Sound familiar? It's because those micro-expressions, the quick narrowing of the eyes, a twitch at the corner of the mouth, a furrow that's gone as soon as it appears, are like emotional truth bombs. They're unfiltered and uncontrollable, which is why they're so revealing. Here's the science behind it. Micro-expressions are hardwired into us, part of our evolutionary survival toolkit. They occur because our emotions, fear, anger, disgust, joy, are processed faster than our conscious thoughts. So, even if someone tries to mask their feelings, their face betrays them for a split second. It's like their brain says, "You can lie with words, but I've got receipts." And the best part, these flashes are universal. A furrowed brow means confusion, a tightened jaw signals anger, and a lip twitch can scream contempt, no matter who you are or where you're from. Let me tell you about a time when micro-expressions saved me from making a huge mistake. I was interviewing candidates for a project and met one person who seemed perfect on paper, polished, articulate, the works. During the interview, they smiled warmly while talking about teamwork, but for a split second, their lips tightened. It was so quick, I almost missed it, but it stuck with me. Later, I followed up on their references and found out they had a reputation for being, let's say, less than collaborative. That tiny flicker of contempt? It was the red flag I needed to dig deeper, and it saved me from a world of headaches. The beauty of this strategy is that it doesn't require confrontation. You don't have to call someone out or accuse them of lying. Just observe. Pay attention to those tiny shifts in expression when someone answers a question or reacts to a situation. Is their smile symmetrical? Does their forehead crease, even if they're nodding in agreement? These are clues, not accusations. Tools to help you navigate conversations with more clarity and confidence. This isn't about becoming a human lie detector or mistrusting everyone you meet. It's about staying in tune with what's happening beneath the surface, about recognizing when words and emotions don't align. And let's be honest, we've all been guilty of wearing a mask at some point, of hiding how we truly feel. So, this isn't about judgment, it's about understanding. By learning to spot micro-expressions, you gain an edge, not to manipulate or control, but to connect. You'll know when to probe deeper, when to tread lightly, or when to call someone's bluff without them even realizing it. And most importantly, you'll trust your instincts in a way that feels empowering and grounded. So, the next time you're in a situation where the stakes feel high, let their face do the talking. Those fleeting micro moments are where the truth lives. And when you can see it, you're no longer at the mercy of mixed messages or half-truths. You're in control, reclaiming your peace, your clarity, and your strength. Because knowing the truth, even for a second, can change everything. Number 5, the mirroring misstep. Have you ever felt that uncanny moment when someone seems to be copying you a little too much? Like, you cross your arms, and suddenly they do too. You lean in, and as if on cue, they mirror the movement. At first, it might feel like a connection, a subtle, almost flattering dance of synchronicity. But then it starts to feel off, forced, like they're trying too hard. And that's when you notice they're not mirroring to bond, they're mirroring to manipulate. Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't mirroring a good thing? Isn't it a way to build rapport? Yes, absolutely. Genuine mirroring, the kind that happens naturally when two people are truly in sync, is a beautiful thing. But when it's calculated, when someone uses it to influence or gain the upper hand, it becomes a tool for deception. And here's the kicker. It's easier to spot than you think. We've all encountered the over-mirrorer. Maybe it was in a job interview where the candidate seemed a little too agreeable, echoing not just your posture, but your phrases and energy. Or maybe it was on a date, where the person across from you mirrored every gesture like they were rehearsing for a mime show. You know the type, the ones who think, if I act just like you, you'll like me more. But what they don't realize is that humans are incredibly perceptive. We might not always articulate it, but we can feel when the harmony is fake. Here's why this works against them. Authentic mirroring happens unconsciously. It's an extension of empathy. Forced mirroring, however, has a rhythm that's just slightly out of sync, like a badly dubbed movie. The timing is off, the gestures are exaggerated, and instead of making you feel closer, it raises your guard. It's like they're wearing a mask of you, and it's unsettling. I'll never forget a meeting I had with a potential collaborator. At first, everything seemed fine, but then I noticed it. Every time I gestured, they gestured. Every time I shifted, they shifted. I tested it by scratching my nose. Sure enough, a second later, they scratched theirs. It was almost comical, except it wasn't. It felt calculated, and that calculation made me question their authenticity. Later, I found out they were known for being opportunistic, tailoring their behavior to whoever they thought could help them climb the ladder. That robotic mirroring, it was their way of blending in and gaining trust. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. The good news is, spotting this kind of behavior can save you a lot of time and energy. If you catch someone mirroring you too precisely or too deliberately, it's a signal to pause and evaluate their intentions. Are they truly engaged with you, or are they trying to play a part? The difference matters, because one builds genuine connection and the other erodes trust. But here's where the empowerment comes in. Recognizing manipulative mirroring isn't just about catching others in the act. It's about sharpening your instincts and trusting your gut. When something feels off, it's not your imagination, it's your intuition picking up on the dissonance. Trust that. It's a skill that can help you navigate relationships, negotiations, and even casual interactions with more confidence and clarity. This isn't about becoming hyper-vigilant or distrusting everyone who crosses their legs when you do. It's about awareness. By understanding the difference between natural rapport and calculated mimicry, you take back control. You set the tone. You decide who gets your trust and your time. So, the next time someone mirrors you just a little too perfectly, remember, you're not the reflection, they are. And when you see through their act, you reclaim the power to stay true to yourself. Because your authenticity is your strength, and no amount of imitation can replicate that. Number 6. The over-detail trap. Let's face it, sometimes we feel the need to explain everything, every single step, every tiny decision, every minute detail. You know the moments I'm talking about, like when you're late to meet a friend, and instead of simply saying, "Sorry, I'm running behind," you launch into a full monologue about the broken alarm, the traffic, and how you accidentally spilled coffee on your shirt. By the time you finish, your friend has tuned out, and instead of smoothing things over, you've just overwhelmed them. Sound familiar? Now, you might be thinking, but isn't giving context important? Don't people want to know the full story? Sure, context can be helpful, but here's the thing. Over-detailing isn't about clarity, it's about reassurance. We over-explain because we're worried about being misunderstood, judged, or even rejected. It's like we're trying to control how others perceive us by flooding them with information. And while that's an understandable impulse, it often backfires. Instead of making us seem thoughtful, it can come across as insecure or, let's be honest, exhausting. We've all been there, whether it's at work, in a relationship, or even during a casual chat. Maybe it's explaining a mistake to your boss, and instead of owning up with a simple, "Here's what happened and how I'll fix it," you dive into a play-by-play of every contributing factor, hoping to soften the blow. Or maybe it's a conversation with a partner where you feel compelled to recount every detail of your day, right down to what you had for lunch, just to fill the silence. It's not that the details are bad, it's that they dilute the message. They make the important stuff harder to hear. Here's where the unconventional strategy comes in. Embrace the power of simplicity. When you feel that urge to over-explain bubbling up, pause. Ask yourself, what's the core message here? What do I want this person to know, feel, or do? Then say just that, no more, no less. It's not about being vague or withholding. It's about being concise and impactful. Trust that your audience can fill in the gaps or ask questions if they need more. I learned this lesson the hard way during a meeting with a potential client. I was pitching an idea I was passionate about, but instead of sticking to the big picture benefits, I got lost in the weeds. I described every tiny feature, every technical detail, thinking it would show how thorough I was. But instead of impressing them, I saw their eyes glaze over. By the end, they were polite but non-committal. Later, I realized I'd overwhelmed them with irrelevant details instead of focusing on why the idea mattered to them. The next time I pitched, I kept it clear and concise and landed the deal. This isn't just about work or formal conversations. Cutting through the over-detailed trap can transform how you communicate in every area of life. It's about reclaiming your confidence and trusting that your words are enough without 1,000 explanations. It's about respecting both your time and theirs by focusing on what truly matters. And honestly, it feels liberating. There's a sense of clarity and calm that comes with saying just enough and letting the rest unfold naturally. So the next time you feel yourself spiraling into over-detail mode, take a breath. Remember that simplicity isn't a lack of effort. It's a mark of confidence. When you focus on what's essential, you not only communicate more effectively, but you also show respect for yourself and the person you're speaking to. And in the end, isn't that what good communication is all about? Clear, honest, and meaningful exchanges that bring us closer, not further apart. Number 7. The voice pitch betrayal. You know that moment when your voice betrays you. Maybe it's during a big meeting, a heartfelt conversation, or even a casual exchange. You start strong, but then, there it is. Your voice wavers, rises just a little too high, or drops into something that feels oddly hesitant. It's like your vocal cords have their own agenda, broadcasting emotions you didn't exactly plan to share. And the kicker, people notice. They might not say it, but they notice. That slight pitch shift, that nervous edge. It's like an unintentional confession that maybe, just maybe, you're not as confident as you're trying to seem. Now you might be thinking, is this really a big deal? Actually, yes. Your voice is one of your most powerful tools for connection and persuasion. It's not just about what you say, it's how you say it. A steady, calm tone conveys confidence and clarity, while an unexpected pitch change can hint at doubt, insecurity, or even fear. And let's be honest, we've all had moments where we've walked away from a conversation, replaying the sound of our own voice, thinking, why did I sound so unsure? We've all been there, whether it's presenting an idea to your boss, setting a boundary with a friend, or even ordering something at a restaurant when you're not quite sure how to pronounce it. That rise in pitch at the end of your sentence, like you're asking a question instead of making a statement. That's a subtle way your voice can give away what you're feeling inside. It's relatable but frustrating because you know your words deserve to land with more authority. Here's the twist. You can train your voice to be your ally, not your saboteur. It starts with awareness. The next time you're about to speak in a situation where stakes feel high, even if it's just emotionally high, pay attention to your breathing. Shallow breaths lead to a thinner, higher pitch. Deep, controlled breaths ground your voice and your presence. And if you feel your pitch creeping up, consciously lower it. Not to the point of sounding unnatural, but enough to regain control and project calm confidence. It's like flipping a switch that says, "I've got this." I remember a time when my own voice betrayed me. I was advocating for a project I really believed in during a team meeting. I had all my facts lined up, my points ready to go, but as soon as I started speaking, my voice betrayed a tiny, almost imperceptible crack of nervousness. I saw one of my colleagues glance up, and in that split second, I felt like I'd lost the room. Afterward, I realized it wasn't my argument that faltered, it was the delivery. So the next time I practiced, I slowed my breathing, grounded my tone, and when I spoke, my voice carried the conviction I felt inside. And you know what? The difference was night and day. I didn't just get approval for the project, I felt respected. This isn't just about meetings or presentations, it's about every interaction where you want your words to matter. When you own your voice, you're not just communicating, you're claiming your space, your thoughts, your perspective. You're saying, "This is what I believe, and I stand by it." That kind of energy is magnetic. People listen, not because your voice is loud, but because it's steady and sure. So, the next time you feel that little pitch betrayal creeping in, take a moment, breathe, reset. Remember that your voice isn't just a tool, it's an extension of your confidence and your authenticity. And when you align it with your message, you're unstoppable. Because this isn't about perfection, it's about presence. Your voice, steady and grounded, is your superpower. Use it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found these body language secrets as eye-opening and helpful as I did while diving into them. If you learned something new, or if this video helped you start thinking about how you read people, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps me bring you more content like this. And if you're not already subscribed, now's the perfect time to do so, because I've got more insightful videos coming your way on this topic and many more. Know someone who could benefit from these tips? Share this video with them. The more we all understand these subtle cues, the better we can protect ourselves from deception. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever caught someone in a lie just by reading their body language? Or maybe you've had some experiences where you wish you'd spotted the signs earlier. Drop a comment below and let's start a conversation. Remember, the more you learn to trust your instincts and decode these hidden signals, the more power you have over your interactions. So keep observing, stay sharp, and until next time, keep being the confident, empowered person you are. You've got this.